took place around 1980. Well, it took place, I believe, in 1987, but it might have been 86.
I was born in 87.
Okay.
So that's about 28 years ago.
Okay. It was
29.
one or the other. It was either 86 or 87. I used to run a 7-card poker game, 7-card stud poker game on 112th Street in Corona.
Mm-hmm.
Out of my house, and at one time also out of my stepfather's house next door. We used to run it together, him and I, at one point. But anyway, I used to run this game every Friday night. A lot of guys coming over to play. A lot of money flowing back then, big games. Play all weekend sometimes. But anyway, we played till this. We played Friday night, and we played till this was either Saturday evening or Sunday evening. I don't remember which, but it was, the poker game had just ended, and it was kind of dreary. It was rainy outside. It was just around dusk, and somewhere around 7:30, something like that. And I had to go to Manhattan, to 59th Street, 2nd Avenue, to deliver a half a key of cocaine.
Okay.
And I was bringing it to a guy out there that I used to do business with, a friend of mine named Steve, who's no longer with us.
Okay.
And so I had to deliver this, and my friend Greg rode along with me. So I had a rent-a-car. We jumped in the rent-a-car, started heading down 32nd Avenue to go over the 59th Street Bridge, and as soon as we go over the bridge, he lives right there. So I'm going along 32nd Avenue. This is at a time when 32nd Avenue was a two-way. And I was going along there, and I mean, driving at a regular speed, I guess. Nothing, I wasn't flying or anything. But it was raining. And as I was crossing Jackson Heights, and got to around, I think it was around 87th Street or something like that. Out of nowhere, this little boy ran out between two parked cars. He was running at a full speed, coming up the street, coming up like say 87th Street.
Yeah. And
he was getting ready to cross 32nd Avenue to go to his house. And he wasn't on the corner. He was running as he came up 87th Street. Then he was cutting between two cars and like running on an angle across the street to his house. And as he came between these two cars, and as I was driving up 32nd Avenue, by the time I saw him, he was basically already on my bumper of my car. He came out between these two cars and was right there, like basically ran into the car. And when the car hit him, he came up on the hood.
Wow.
Came up on the hood. I hit the brakes. He had come up on the hood, and when I hit the brakes, he rolled off and hit the ground. Greg and I jump out. I didn't know if the kid was dead or alive at first. I run over to him. I see a little blood coming from his ear, which is, I know, is a bad sign. Yeah. And I had to lift up his shirt to see that he was still breathing. This was back in '87. We didn't have cell phones. I don't know if I had a car phone. I don't remember. I just remember that I know I needed help. No, there was no phone. I know I needed help. I'm sure there was some people probably calling by now, in the street. Yeah. And I know the ambulance is going to come. The police are going to come. But I also got this half a key in the car.
Exactly.
So, if you know the layout from like 32nd Avenue, 87th Street, Jackson Heights, and from where I lived over in Corona on 112th Street, as you head back that way, if you walk that way and you get on the Northern Boulevard and walk that way, you walk right past the 115th precinct. Okay. That's the nearest police precinct, and it's right there. So we needed the police to come. So Greg volunteered to take the half a key back out the car and bring it back to my house. So he took it and he started and he said he's gonna walk back to my house. And I said, okay, if you get stopped, you was on your way to the precinct, go get help. Yeah. And then Greg left. and made it back to the house. And the ambulance came, police came, took a report. Ambulance took the boy to the hospital, and I had to go to the precinct. So I went to the precinct, answered their questions. Everything was straight. I had, everything was straight with my paperwork, and they called over to the hospital and found out that he was in. I don't remember exactly what the hospital said, but that they expected him. They were expecting him to live, but he wasn't in great condition. But they were expecting him to live. I think he was still unconscious at the time. But anyway, so they let me go, and about 5 days later, I went to the hospital to check on him, and he was sitting up in the. The nurse told me, they let me go in the room to see him, but he was sitting up in the bed, 12 years old. He was sitting up in the bed. He was just staring at the TV, and just staring at it, but not really like watching it. He was just like staring off into space at this TV.
Yeah. And
they said that he hadn't said anything up to that point. He hadn't talked up to that point. That he was, knew what was going on basically, but hadn't really communicated with anybody.
Yeah.
So I ended up getting sued. I it's not like I didn't go up there visiting him every day or anything like that. I went up there to check on him that one time.
Yeah.
And I ended up getting sued. His family was suing me and the rental car company for $1 million. So I had to go. So I guess about a year later, I had to go to what they call it. I forgot what the term is, but a deposition. I had to go for a deposition.
Okay.
And they asked me questions and this and that. And this was my first time seeing him since then. We got there. He was basically almost 100%. He was 100% mentally and running around playing this and that, but he didn't have full use of his left arm. Okay, he didn't have full use of his left arm, but other than that, he had made basically a full recovery.
Okay.
But he was doing. I guess he wasn't doing well in school, and they were suing us for $1 million, and they were trying to blame his school grades on the fact that he had got hit by this car and that this had caused him all this. And the lawyers for the rental car company at the time of the deposition were basically arguing, or whatever you want to say, they were discussing that his problem isn't that he got hit by a car. His problem is that his mother, he was a Colombian kid, and come to find out his mother was already in prison for selling cocaine.
Yeah.
So basically the rental car attorneys were trying to say he was having trouble in school because his mother's away in prison. Anyway, I answered their questions and I left. And they ended up settling out of court for the rental car insurance money. It was like $200,000, I think it was. And that's what they ended up settling for. But anyway, that was something that happened along my travels, and I hope he's doing well now. And I'm glad he made it through it. But that was kind of crazy.
Do you remember his name?
I don't remember his name.
Yeah.
No, I don't remember his name.
Wow.
This was, I don't.
Was he still speaking again?
Yeah, he had made a full recovery. Like he was running around playing, talking, and everything. When I saw him, yeah. He was playing with his cousins or whatever when they were doing the deposition, and he seemed to be fun, seemed to be good. Like I said, he didn't have full use of his left arm. He had like partial use of his left arm. But yeah, that was one of the sadder days in that long street career. And we'll get to more of those street stories in the future as we start unfolding the whole story. But anyway, that's it for tonight. Y'all have a good night.